Good evening, Sláinte. I have really got to, work hard with an audience tonight because I've got a football match on the go that people are probably watching. And you know what? If you're a real Irish whiskey drinker, no doubt you're supporting that England team tonight. No doubt you're right behind them. You're getting, you want England football to come home or whatever it is that they're talking about. That's all they're saying. So well done. And if we're lucky, we'll be done for 9 o'clock for everyone for the watershed moment when you can go and watch your Love Island bollocks. Okay. In the meantime, literally right now, we're going to have a great discussion all about Teeling whiskey, and I'm privileged to have Rob Caldwell on tonight, who is global brand ambassador, who is stuck in Ireland and who has not managed to fly around the world for the last year and a half because of coronavirus, and he's gutted for that. But look, we're great to have him on. Really excited. And we'll just say hello just now to Jonathan. How are we? William, great. Connor, good to see you tonight. Robert, unreasonable time for this. Look, I'm surprised that you're out having a pint, Robert. I can't believe you're having a pint. Do you know what I mean? All those freaking Swedish lads supporting Denmark tonight must be brilliant, is it? Evening, Mark. How are you? Robert, what the hell? George and Sláinte to Shermini. How are we? And she says, hi, Rob. So, Rob, welcome in. Here we go.
Hi.
There you go. Shermini says, hi.
Hey, Charlie, how are you?
There you go. And there's a couple of hours. So, listen, Rob, we're stuck in that time zone. Summer months, football's on. People are like busting the hole just to watch a team with 3 lions on their shirt. Progressing to the probably the world's best ever final that if they ever win it, would be talked about again for another 100 years or something. Anyone but England was a famed phrase a couple of years ago. I look, Denmark, brilliant. Kasper Schmeichel's kid is in nets. That's all I know. I don't know anyone else.
It reminds me of that old Rugby Six Nations ad that you had different fans just shouting England, England, like people in Irish jersey, England, people in Welsh jerseys, England, people in Scottish jersey, England. It gets to the end of the ad, like, who do you want to see lose? England. Yeah, and then the English come up and there's a spattering. I was like, that's very, very similar to Australian sports as well.
the Paddy Power adverts that they have for the gambling, no doubt, they always take the mickey out of the English, don't they? There's always one of those adverts I see on the southern channels slapping England. But look, we do have some English people involved in the festival, so we don't really want to upset them too much. And good luck tonight.
I mean, I think
from the heart.
I thought that Denmark was everybody's personal favorites after everything that happened early on. Yeah, I mean, it'd be like all other things aside, it'd be really nice to see him go through and win that with such adverse circumstances.
Can you genuinely imagine? Yeah, and look, let's just take a moment. Look, this is life, Robert. This is life. Here it's not endless. It's not it's not timeless. It's not it doesn't go on forever. And to watch some fella, Mr. X, and literally hit the deck and not be alive for moments, and for him to be brought back, that's reality. That's reality. That happens to people all around the world all the time, and it's a check. It's a check on life. But I think when we watch it as a football fan, or people are watching it, it is a shock moment. It is a moment of reality, realization that we're not. We're all fallible. We've all got an end point. And do you know what? If Denmark go on and win something, that's a beautiful thing for them, and it'll be hopefully they'll not be remembered for the earlier incident, but they're remembered from absolutely spanking England and going on and winning the Euros.
You are right. It is a very surreal experience, and if it was a Hollywood film, he'd be up off the hospital bed and come in and would score the winning goal in the final.
I actually said to a couple of people today, and it's not even a joke, I actually said, here, was your man back at training? And I wasn't being, but hold on, I wasn't being, being like, silly. I was actually in my head. Listen, some of these guys, just want to get back on the pitch. We talk about, people bashing their heads, concussion and stuff, in the rugby and whatever. boys want to be back on the pitch. So I'm not sure what his thoughts are. I think maybe I read a headline which was like he was keen to go back to train or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, here, praying for him, praying that England somehow don't manage to win, and we'll be grand. So look, more importantly, we're here about the whiskey. We're here about Teeling. Right. I have in front of me a bottle of Teeling. I actually had it last night. Now I was on a session last night, and I think, I have been drinking this one of little late. It's a single grain, Cabernet Sauvignon casks.
Yeah.
46%, which is great. I've noticed that a lot of the whiskey coming from Teeling is at 46%. I like that number. It's better than that 40. So it's nice.
It is the sweet spot. I mean, obviously we have whiskies that are higher ABVs. We even have a couple that are lower, being obviously of an age where 46 would be a little bit impossible without some trickery. But yeah, I think single grain hugely underestimated, and hopefully in the near future you'll see a little bit more in that category from us, which is exciting. Obviously we experiment in various ways, and I think yes, single grain needs a little bit more fleshing out. Personally, love that whiskey. I'm drinking this though. I'm drinking the Renaissance No. 1 18-year-old Madeira finish. Don't know why. I just saw it there. It was open. I'm like, okay, well, I'll drink that.
Well, if we're flexing, do you want me to run out and get my...
No, I don't.
I run out and get all my Teelings. I've got loads of Teelings. Like I have no problems. I have no problems in drinking the Teelings. I said to you earlier on, we went through the whole Renaissance series, which was absolutely brilliant. And then I actually got the 28-year-old. Was it 28-year-old?
Yeah, the older brother. Wrong? Oh no, 28 was well, I mean, there definitely could be a 28-year-old rum, but the 28 recently was the older brother of the 24-year-old. So it was the Sauterne finish, very subtly peated.
But it might, do you know, it might have been a 24 rum, but here it was Celtic Whiskey Shop bottling. It was lovely. It was lovely, and you know what? The old expressions are great, but this is lovely. So tell me a little bit, just because I have it in front of me. Tell me a little bit about this single grain one. So I'm assuming sourced, because we don't have a single grain distillery at Teeling. Yeah, so this is sourced. Are we getting it from up the road? Are we getting it GND?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when we started, it would have been old family stock. But yeah, we are moving to a point now where we are integrating a Dublin distillate into our portfolio. It's not just a case of like cut everything that we've done, new labeling, new bottling, new branding, and to move, very drastically to a Dublin distillate. It's a slow integration process. So yeah, that includes moving from a Cooley-based column distillate into a G&D-based column distillate. As you know, a G&D owned by John Teeling. Yep. Very, very close relationship there. They make a grain-based distillate, to our specifications, and it comes to our warehousing. And yeah, I mean, like John has joked about building column stills in Dublin just so he doesn't have to make us column distill anymore. Like, it's obviously a joke, but yeah, I mean, it is family stock. It is considered family stock, and we've signified that now with the changing of the bottles. So if you look on the small batch and the single grain now, you might have the embossing. So there's embossing down the bottom that say Teeling whiskey. The Phoenix on the back is embossed. So this is a signifying fact that we're moving to a family stock now. There you go. So that signifies. So all the batch dates that contain that embossing, it's moved to a family stock. It's Dublin stock. It's moving away from the stores of the old stuff.
Yeah, and here John's such a gent, isn't he?
Oh man, he's such a character. Like I remember, I ran into him the other day. He's fully vaccinated now. He still comes into the distillery, but I still remember, when I would take VIP tours in Newmarket in the Teeling distillery, I'd set myself up so I can see the room, and you could see people coming over to the group. The group's got their backs to the rest of the room, and John sees a tour going on. He's like, wanders over. He's like, okay, sticks his head in. He's like, have you got to the part about me yet? Like, all right. And then he just takes over the tour. Literally just takes over, and then we'll take them on the full tour, hand them back over to me at tasting. I mean, yeah, absolute character, and loves it. Absolutely loves it.
He does. And listen, Jack and Stephen have both really, really bought into this, haven't they? Really.
Well, of course they have. Yeah, of course they have. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if they're happy with John telling the story of Jack and Stephen's whiskey, because I mean, it's almost like, oh yeah, my little boys, they're following my dad's footsteps. They're like, no. I mean, this is the Teeling Whiskey Company. We've established our own brand and have done now for so long. Stop dismissing it as oh, my son's hobby.
No,
but
he's look, but you know what? If I was Jack or Stephen, I'd be buzzing to have him as my dad. You know what I mean? Buzzing and knowing full well that relationship between the two distilleries, will serve them rightly, because having the ability to create your blends or creating these single grains using stock there, super. Getting your what you need from GND is going to be very important for the future. I've just been told, and we've been corrected 100%, 28-year-old was a rum barrel from CWS. There you go. So was a 28-year-old, which is super. John is asking, is that a single pot still in the background? You've got plenty of bottles there.
Yeah, there's a single pot still, the single grain, black pits, single malt, small batch, and then I got other bits of Brabazons there, Renaissance. Yeah, I mean, there's whiskey all over the house.
Is Brabazon, is it on to 04 or is it 03? What
that,
is it?
Oh, that box there is the 03. I just like the box.
Yeah.
Like the artwork of Brabazon House. But we're on to Brabazon 4. But that too is being pretty heavily sold. I think we're pretty close to the end of that run now too. Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant. It might have to be paused for a while as we look to do other stuff and interesting things. So yeah, look, watch this space. I mean, there's plenty going on behind the scenes. If anyone, I know there's a couple of people, Roberts, Gustafsson, one of them, Shamini, another, that have attended some of our private tastings where they can see, what's coming in the future with the wonders of wood, and our upcoming run-of-the-mill tastings where you can kind of get a bit of a sneak behind the curtain at the future of Teeling.
Yeah, I've noticed that. The private members club, as it were, which is really but it is. It's doing really well. It's absolutely doing great, and the Facebook pages have been helping that grow and grow. It's lovely to see so many people from outside of Ireland getting involved. And here's a couple of comments that are coming from likes of Shamini, so Charlie's saying some stuff, but also Cassandra. So Cassandra's saying here, when Teeling launched in Florida, just apparently was yesterday, but it wasn't. It just feels like yesterday. It sent her down the Irish whiskey rabbit hole, because Cassandra, for everyone who knows Cassandra, who's absolutely fantastic, fabulous lass that she is a wine, guru, loves the wine, but has been drawn into Irish whiskey. And if that's Teeling's fault, then here I thank Teeling, because Cassandra is absolutely brilliant. She just loves Irish whiskey, and is such an ambassador for the brands that she's been drinking. So fair play. And there's Stacey Stearns here. Fair play that her husband loves the Black Pits. For those that haven't tasted Black Pits, well, first of all, it's going to be involved in the festival, I believe. Yes.
Yep, it is. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
I can get involved and get tasting it, because it is a bit of a game changer. I think. Personally, I think obviously you get some good reviews and bad reviews, and it's ultimately the nature of the beast. Some people like it, some people don't. But I think my favorite review was from someone that came out and said, "Look, I hate peated Irish whiskey. We shouldn't be peating Irish whiskey, and we shouldn't be releasing Irish peated malt. But I kind of get this, and I don't hate it, so it's fine." And I was like, "Is that a win? Is that a win?" That's a win.
It's like, I hate peated Scotch. We shouldn't be doing peated Irish, but I don't mind Black Pits. I'm like, okay, cool.
Absolutely brilliant. What have we got here? Michael says he's not a relation, but maybe he is. He doesn't know. Maybe a couple of his forefathers were kicked out to Australia. Who knows?
I did the ancestry thing. On my father's side, got as far back as I think it was 1600s in Armagh, which was interesting. Obviously, a little bit of Irish heritage there, but not claiming it the way that some countries do. But funnily enough, on the mother's side, there was like a CEO of Lloyd's Bank, so no no convicts, but definitely criminals on that side.
I'm thinking with the name Caldwell, though. Caldwell is a fantastic Scottish name, specifically.
That's what my dad said. So that's why I paid for that that ancestry thing. My dad always kind of claimed a little bit of Scottish heritage.
Yeah,
so
well,
I did.
Yeah, the name itself. There's it would be Scottish. I mean, not that I'm not going to give you a whole history lesson on where it comes from specifically, but it is indeed. So you maybe have somebody over there just decided that, you know, and listen, the chances of them moving from Scotland to Ireland and then, you know, relocating 100% is possible. You know, we've all got the same blood over here as well. We're all like the same. I tell you that. There's a couple of our look, there you go. Another thumbs up for Black Pits. Matthew is saying super.
Perfect.
Evening, Shane. How are you? There you go.
That is a true statement if I've never seen one before.
Yeah, he's spot on. He's spot on. There you go. So no, listen, Robert, I'm going to say a couple of wee things because look,
of course,
we're lucky to have Teeling involved in the festival. Buzzing to have Teeling involved in the festival. I don't think it would be an Irish whiskey festival without Teeling. I'm going to say that now because we've got to the stage, I think, where we kind of know what the map looks like, the whiskey map of Ireland. We know what it looks like, right? We've got the Bushmills, yeah. We've got, you know, Ecklinville. We've got the Copelands. We've got the Colognes. We've got the Hinch. We've got, you know, Shortcrosses start to sprout, and then we come further down, and then we've got the, you know, the GND, we've got the Coolies, we've got the Boan, we've got, you know, then we hit Dublin, and we've got, it just explodes in Dublin, doesn't it? But the whiskey map is clear. There's Teeling, there's Roe & Co now. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully we see some good stuff from them. We've got the Dublin Liberties, do you know what I mean, themselves, you know, so. And then you can go down to Cork, and we've got all that IDL stuff, you know, which is great. The Jimsons and Redbreasts and the Middletons, all that. And then we've got the Dingles and the West Corks, and there's just so many. The map is just becoming clearer. It wouldn't be. We just couldn't talk about Irish whiskey without having Teeling in the breath now. I don't think. You know, that in itself is clear. You know, you guys have put yourself on the map fundamentally. You know, this idea of the branding, the phoenix, the rising out of Dublin, I think is great. I think it's I remember seeing the Teeling neon sign at two different whiskey shows, and I was just like, wow, that's presence. Someone's gone all out on the neon and thought, here, we're gonna do something that's pretty cool. It's really graphic. You know, you definitely have presence, and you're doing that all around the world. But I said to you off camera, Rob, what's been nice to see is you've not forgotten it is Dublin, you know, is Ireland, and it's Irish whiskey. So let's cater to our local populace, and let's cater for the people who want to support, you know, the brands that we have available to us. So it's been nice. It's nice to see that. It's been really nice to see it. I'm also sorry, Rob. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's not like a concerted thing either. Like it's not like some targeted marketing approach or anything like that. It's just how the lads feel. And yeah, I mean, you got to remember that Jack and Stephen, the guys with the name on the bottle, like they're very much involved on a day-to-day basis, and it's literally just them like doing the local push. You know, anyone that's within spitting distance from the distillery, look after them, do whatever they can, get them barrels. You know, we've still got quite an extensive Irish sales team compared to the whole of Europe. I mean, there's a bigger Irish sales team for Teeling than there is in Europe. And then beyond that, like you talk about the I guess like the local sustainability, I guess, for the lack of a better term, but the charity work that the lads do, you know, it's based on, obviously you could choose better partners or PR companies or anything like that, but it's local Dublin partners, local Dublin coffee roasters, local Dublin farmers, local Dublin charities. It's just like the lads are part of the community and want to give back to the community that have helped prop up the Teeling Whiskey Distillery.
Yeah, and that's it. That's precisely it. You know, and I don't badmouth brands and say, you're ignoring that your local clientele. But some of them are. Some of them are going to Australia, or they're going to Asia, or they're going to America, and they're concerning themselves outside, and that's good, because sometimes that's the only way a brand will grow. I mean, let's be honest. Maybe sometimes it's the only way it grows. But I think what Teeling's doing, it's pretty. It's pretty cool. I really like what that's about. I also commented, and I'm loving the fact that, and I don't know if anyone's noticed, they should have seen this, but a little Lego Teeling distillery here. Why? And here, if anyone else is on here from another distillery, here, lads, these Teeling boys have it covered, eh? You can make a distillery out of Lego. I'm all over that now. I was looking at all my Lego sets, going, how did I make this Lego? How did I do it? So I'm buzzing to make my own distillery set out of my Lego. That's what I'm doing.
Well, we've had a few people reach out going, how do I buy either the blueprints or the finished set? And I mean, we didn't expect it to.
Well, we should be buying the blueprints. They should be up online for free. But I tell you what, you know what I mean? If we can bring that to the festival, Rob, if you could get the festival, right? The blueprints of the Lego, we'll discuss that for a couple of hours. And we'll have crack. We'll have crack at the festival. We'll just be building. Listen. Who does not? I mean, look, I'm at that age. Do you know what I mean? I'm really old. Do you know what I mean? And I still love Lego. I love Lego.
Someone asked me the other day, like I went a bit nuts on IKEA there recently, and they're like, "Why'd you do that? Now you got to build it all." I'm like, "It's adult Lego. Why wouldn't I?" Headphones, like I don't mind if the missus she's like, "I'm not helping you do this. I don't want to fight with you." I'm like, "Fine. I'll put the headphones on. I'll do it all myself. It'll take a week, but I'll be bliss. It'll be bliss."
100%. 100%. Do you know what I bought? This is sad. This is a really sad adult thing to do. I bought a box of Sharpies.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? There was about 26 Sharpies in the box, just because I wanted to have a Sharpie every colour, just so I'm writing something that is permanent, that no one will be able to rub out in every colour. I was like, yes. My freaking stuff, do not touch.
I'm trying to find my
It's in pink Sharpie. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? Freaking Sharpies are class. Absolutely class. No other permanent marker comes close to a Sharpie. Do you know what I mean? If I say it that many times, I might get a bit of traction. And send me free Sharpies.
Or another company will go like, "No, have you tried our ones?
Have you tried the barrel? Have you tried the barrel one? Piss off! I don't want your barrel one. I want your Sharpie. You're mad." It was like Uggs. Remember Uggs? How good were Uggs? Uggs were comfy as.
Yeah.
Right? But see, when someone tried to sell you a different pair of something like an Ugg, you were
like, wool boots.
Listen, have you tried those Uggs? They're class. Don't be trying knockoffs.
It was such a part of our childhood. I mean, if you look back at what we used to wear in winter in Australia, just be Uggs, no socks, jean shorts, and a singlet. Like, what is that? What is going on there?
That's style, my friend. That is style. And pure comfort. Like real comfort.
Oh, mate, it was so good. So good.
You run about with your Uggs on all day. No sweat. Oh, man. No part. Right, okay, what have we got here? Listen, those blueprints should now be BWW swag. See? If I could get hold of that, I would reproduce it, print it, and I'd put it in every Teeling box. You've heard it here. If Rob can get me it, I'm putting it in every Teeling box, no problem. That means everyone who gets a Teeling tasting set gets the blueprint. No one else. Just those people. I mean, I tell you what, make it happen, Rob. I get it printed.
I'm scouring through my Instagram now, trying to remember the company that did it for us.
Do you know what? But that just shows you how much fun is being had at the distillery as well. Because you know what, there's some people in the industry. I've met mad scientists in the whiskey industry, mad people who are crazy ideas, and you've got people who are real, just to the letter, very very conservative about how we approach the whiskey, and the creation of whiskey. Very conservative people. But for someone to say, "Look, you know what? We've got a really lovely distillery. Again, this lovely Phoenix, everything else. We've got a nearly a kind of cult culture with Teeling and being from Dublin and being about Dublin. And what's more cult-ish or kitsch, as it were, than the old Lego? Do you know what I mean?
And it didn't just stop there. And I know, I mean, it obviously it's my job to toot our own horn, but I mean, I guess this reinforces why I like Teeling so much, is that it was just a bit of fun for the birthday. The birthday batch that we did, like there were 600 bottles, but 200 went to staff. We didn't pay for it. They gave us a birthday gift for their own birthday.
Wow.
And then the canned, I don't know if you guys saw, I was working on those canned cocktails there when I was talking to you on the phone, obviously stressed out, trying to figure out how to do canned cocktails and carbonation, everything like that. They gave me the resources to put together 200 canned cocktails, not to sell and profit off and build out the brand, maybe in the future, but those 200 cans went to staff. Literally, happy birthday, have a long weekend, and drink canned cocktails. And I'm like, I mean, it's not about work overtime to push Teeling for this day and use this day to sell bottles. It was take Teeling home with you, have some donuts, and a canned cocktail and a bottle of whiskey, and have a long weekend and enjoy yourselves. I was like, I mean, you can't knock that.
Well, there's not many staff that get treated like that in just about any workplace. But here, it's lovely to see it in the distillery. And I saw the birthday bottling, and I actually saw people like commenting on social media like, every year we just want this bottle. We just want this bottle. Birthday bottle. People are seeing in the chat. Apparently Denmark scored, so they're 1-0 up. Fair play.
Oh,
I told
cheers.
you a little prayer. That was good. I'm glad we prayed hard for that one. It's amazing what whiskey and prayer does. We're very blessed. But yeah, people are still going on about here. The Brabazon single malt and port was first. Who was first? Cologne or Teeling? Well, the Brabazon was first, wasn't it?
Brabazon, yeah, a few years back. Like you're talking like 4 or 5 years ago, Brabazon 1 came out. But 4 years, but Brabazon 1 was sherry, and then Brabazon 2 was port. But yeah, they were the only two for a while there. We did 2 batches of each of those because I remember when I started, they were only biannual releases where we did a batch of 1, a batch of 2, and then once they sold out, then you go batch of 1, back to 2.
So is batch 4 port?
Yeah, you've stumped me there. So we called it white port on the label, and Portugal, obviously with the controlled appellation there, we're like, that's not technically port. It is Carcavelos, which is a fortified wine from white grapes in Portugal, and it's its own subcategory and not technically port.
All right.
So we got into a bit of trouble there, but yeah, I mean, fortified wine from Portugal.
Sure,
it's fantastic.
Everyone gets into trouble once in a while with a wee label mishap. Just get your Sharpie out.
Pink Sharpie, yeah.
Right, Sharpies come in handy. You can get gold Sharpies now. It can go with the lovely kind of.
Yeah, just change the port, change the P to an F, fort, and then it's right. Fortified.
That's it. You're big grand.
Fortified.
No, listen. What's your so far? Okay, out of all of the stuff that's happening, let's go through this because again, look, as I say, I kind of followed the story insofar as I bought lots of Teeling bottles. Most of them have been older bottlings because, to be honest, why would we not be picking up old Cooley and old Bushmill stock and drinking it because it's quality? But let's talk about the new stuff. We are progressing the pot still, and we're progressing the malt. Yes. How is this? How is this happening? What is happening? Where are we in the journey?
Of course, yeah. I mean, so like I said, the integration of Dublin Distillate is an ongoing, constant thing. First and foremost was the malt component of small batch had to be right. Obviously, being our flagship product, that malt is needed to be dead on. Then it's the black pits, getting that out there, building out the unconventional. Well, I should say, the pot still first. I mean, let's go back to the pot still actually. Definitely underestimated. So I mean, let's go back to, we were talking about this before, the batches of pot still, and I mean, it would be the first one to put up and say, maybe we could have done that maybe a little bit better. Like I said to you, it makes sense looking back objectively as each of those batches as story in a chapter or chapters in a story that will never be told again. You know what I mean? Like they were never going to be the finished and be all and end all. you know, like Teeling is always changing. You know, the small batch mentality of Teeling is very fluid in that, you know, you taste the single malt from 2013, very different to what the single malt is today, and has progressed over time. And that's what happened with the single pot still. And we got to a point in which we were happy with, but I think a few people were, I guess, a little maybe turned away by the idea. I still think 100% there's people out there that have tried batch one and have yet to try the full release, the commercial release of single pot still, just because they weren't immediately enamored by batch one or batch two. So that obviously single pot still very important. We're going to start releasing some single cast single pot still soon. If you did our latest Wonders of Wood, you know that we did put that single pot still into a number of casks, because I guess that is the point. You know, a lot of people said, "Oh, your single pot still is very young." I was like, "Yeah, cool. All right, it's from the Newmarket Distillery." But my question to you would be, what casks do we put that in to best exemplify this mash bill that no one's been using and everyone's only seen from one distillery for a long period of time? So we did put that into a number of different casks and experimented with that. Yeah. And then there's the black pits, the peated single malts, so rounding out the categories, I guess, of Irish whiskey, the unconventional collection, as it were. You know, evolving from the Trinity releases that have kind of been our structure or our foundations for many years in many countries, you know, representing the categories of Irish whiskey. You know, you want to introduce people to Irish whiskey in a way that, I guess, subtly explains or subtly conveys a message of we're not just Jameson anymore. You know, I think the Trinity did a lot of work for that. Like, why is there 3 whiskeys up there on the shelf? Well, one's a single malt. It has a little bit more in common with, say, a fruit-forward Scotch. The single grain, a little bit more structurally similar to American whiskey and bourbon specifically, and the small batch obviously being a premium blend. You know, we're moving away from that idea that, in America, especially in America, where, you know, Irish whiskey is looked at as something you mix with ginger ale or something you shot with a glass of pickle juice on the side. So building that Trinity out to include single pot still and peated Irish whiskey was pretty key. So introducing a single pot still from Dublin and a peated single malt from Dublin rounds out that to a range of 5 whiskies that represent the 4 categories of Irish whiskey, both you know, a blend, a single grain, single malt, both peated and fruit forward, and single pot still.
No, that's good, and I'm glad that we're getting there. There's a lot of people, and I'm glad you touched on it, Robert. You know, there's bound to be a lot of people there who expect the world, who expect so freaking much from from something so young and again experimental in some respects. You know, that
right.
I hope I keep on saying this, so hope people actually take it in and listening, because, you know, I won't tell people how to suck eggs and how to drink whiskey, and I'm not going to tell them water, ice, whatever. But I'm going to tell them one thing, and I don't freaking care if they hate me or they'll call me out or whatever. But see if you genuinely think that a distillery is going to get it right first time out, that they're going to give you a 3-year-old whiskey and you're going to go, fuck me, it's the best thing I've ever tasted. Or if you think that's the best that they're going to produce, you are in the wrong place. You're at the wrong time. You don't have a clue what you're saying, because look, you're comparing it to, and again, great stuff, Jameson, Redbreast, Middletons, you know, Bushmills, great product, cooley stuff. These guys have had years in the game. Bushmills has had 400 years to try and perfect something. Are they getting it right every day? Potentially, but maybe not. You know, are IDL getting it right every day? Again, you know, are there little slips here or there? Yeah. So how dare people out there think, mate, you see your pot still batch 1? That wasn't that great. There was a bit of spice on there. It was actually really fucking tongue forward right on the very tip, and it was really spicy. Nah, mate, I'm not going to touch that again. I read it, and you're not a Harkon Teeling. I actually watched a video about Dingle, and I absolutely adore where Dingle has gone with their wee journey. And I watched this guy. He was on YouTube and, you know, had loads, 1,000 odd subscribers and stuff. And I get sent a link saying, Paul, you need to listen to this guy. Right. I was like, what's he saying? Is this godlike? And he literally went, don't ever, and he was telling all his script, do not drink Dingle. Never drink Dingle again. Do not drink Dingle. Don't ever drink Dingle. I was like, what is this guy on about? So I had to watch the whole thing to understand what he meant. And he was like, listen, I just tried I think it was batch 2, and I was like, lad, you do know that you've just, or was it batch 3 or something, whatever it was, and he drank it, and that was him. I'll never drink Dingle again. I don't want you to drink it. I don't want you to go and waste, your 60 quid on it. Don't buy it. And I was like, are you mental? Is there something wrong with you? Because you're not giving the distillery the time, the credibility, the anything to get to where we should be in maybe 30 years' time. Maybe 30 years down the road, at least. I don't expect anyone to get it right 3 years in, 5 years in, 6 years in, 10 years in, because quite frankly, it's a learning process for the guys that are doing it. You get once you start to get your mash bill to a T, once you get the cuts right, once you get the use of the barrels right, once you get that right, and that's going to take time, man, then we're going to be in a process where we're going like, listen, this is good, and this will hold up against its competitors around the corner. This will hold up against X, Y, and Z, and people can make a real decision, not based on one batch, not based on a small batch at that, not based on, let's have a reality check. And I hope people listen to that, because I'll continue to say that, because it's just to give everyone the same level of, the same playing field for everyone to play at the same level and not be discredited by maybe one taste that someone didn't like, or and not given that opportunity to go back and taste different parts of the journey, which is nice, because actually all of these new distilleries, every single one of them, we're able to watch and witness this journey. It's actually incredible, the history that's in the making right now. We have some real turning points that are being like seeing Dingle now have their core product. I'm sure that's a massive turning point in Irish history.
That's the romantic thing about the whiskey industry, is that there's things that we will do now that will outsurvive our lives. There's things that the two of us probably in a small way, but the two of us will be involved in some way that will someone else will be reading about in the history of Irish whiskey. And that for me is why like the romanticism of being in the whiskey industry. There's whiskeys that we've had a literal hands-on experience of, whether it would be like production or anything like that, or buying a cask that will probably stay in that cask until I'm gone from the world. So I think that there's a romance there.
There's definitely a romance, and you know what? If I was just saying, Rob, you have a very exciting job, this global ambassador role. Super exciting, very jealous, obviously. So I mean, maybe if you get to Miami soon and Germany, fair play to you. I'm not gonna cry over that. It's proper exciting, and do you know what? There's a lot of people now getting involved in the industry, and there's lots of job creation, which is beautiful. Lots of job creation, lots of people now able to do lots of things, and I think that's been an absolutely fabulous part of the journey so far. But again, I think we're way down here. I think we're at the very start of something. As I said, we're 10 years. For the majority of people, we're 10 to 30 years away where we should be. Irish whiskey industry was hit like a freaking atomic bomb. Do you know what I mean? 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Wiping the entire industry out. And for it to start to, and Teeling's a beautiful example. This phoenix, this imagery, this, rising out of something, this creation of, a new life for the whiskey industry. We are 300 years away from Scottish whiskey.
Yeah, there's a long
time to catch up. So I think we're at the very, very start, and there's so many people who are scaremongers. I'm going to call them out as well. See anyone that says there's too much Irish whiskey, wind your freaking neck in, boys. Do you know what? We produce way less whiskey in Ireland, right, than they consume in India. So let's get this right. We produce way less whiskey in Ireland than they consume in India. That's the end of that discussion. There's not enough Irish whiskey. There might be lots of brands and competition within marketplaces. That's different.
Well, especially
there's actually
here,
not a lot of whiskey. You know what I mean?
Well, especially here because Ireland is a small island. But yeah, it brings back to a point. I was thinking about when you were talking about the single pot still, and you were talking about Dingle. Like a great example is a review that I read of our single pot still that said this is a bad whiskey, and I don't like that concept for any brand. because I don't think there's a good and bad whiskey. There's just an audience for it that isn't you. You know, I said to the guy, and I don't like, you know, getting into that negativity online, but I just said to the guy, look, I don't think it's inherently bad. I think you don't like it, but I think to say something's bad is not necessarily true, because I take this whiskey to America and they absolutely love it because it's something new for them. They don't have that very close connection to brands like Powers, John's Lane, Green Spot, or Redbreast that we do here. So they're not making that immediate comparison, which by any stretch of the imagination, they shouldn't even make that comparison, because they're completely different. And you know, our single pot still was made to be different to that, because it doesn't benefit anybody to copy what Middleton have done. But the States, they absolutely love it. Like, sometimes Redbreast is a little bit out of that price point for the average consumer to kind of throw the dice on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, they try the single pot still and like, this is different. It has a nose of bourbon and this spice just goes 90 degrees. It's so different to anything that I've tried before. I absolutely adore it. I absolutely love it. Like, that's amazing. That's absolutely brilliant to see, because that will only serve to get them to maybe go out and buy that bottle of Redbreast, or maybe get, you know, a pot still from another company, and we see that pot still category grow to eventually become as diverse as the single malt category, which would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
but it has to start somewhere.
No, it does, and you know, it's starting in the right place as well. It's coming from the right place. You know, it's not coming out of a grab situation. You know, it's not piggybacking. It's literally it's a movement. There's a big movement now, isn't there, between distilleries and producers right now to get that, you know, that single pot element moving around, and there's the change coming within the different legislate areas to allow people to help that grow, and that's important. Charlie says, look, Teeling for every situation, every mood. Yes.
Yeah, she's dead right.
Yes, indeed. And look, I like this comment, and I want to bring it back, was just because you don't like single pot, it doesn't mean you won't love the single grain, or the malt, or the blends, or, you know, because I get caught up on that. I mean, I don't say I don't say a whiskey's crap. What I would say is that some whiskies are just not for me, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Of course,
I would not be the person that says, well, and I'm telling you, you know, I should post this link, but I wouldn't do Dingle any good. But, you know, telling people not to buy something is absolutely heartless and ridiculous and not nice. And it's not, you know, it's not. I suppose it shows the crappier side of humanity, not mean people talking like that, you know, and dissing people, because Andrew's point's true. Like, I mean, I don't know if you watch many of my shows, right? But I mean, they're not great. I mean, they're a bit of crap. But like, I eat a lot of chocolate and stuff. Like tonight, I'm about to have an animal bar. These guys don't sponsor me, right? But I'm going to have some chocolate, right? But
at the end of this, you're sponsored by Sharpies and Animal Bar.
That's it. But you know what? I like chocolate, right? There's some chocolate I just don't eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because I just don't like it. And that's the end of it. You know, move on to my next chocolate. I don't say to someone, "Here, didn't buy that chocolate bar because it's crap." I mean, if you've ever had a cherry ripe, that's just a terrible chocolate bar, and I suggest that no one buy that. It's only something in Australia. Is that positive brand? Is that positive brand? Positive brand in there.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, just kidding.
No, listen, but you know, it's an interesting place. I didn't think. Well, I hope we don't get to a stage where people are wildly. What's that word? If they're genuinely, honestly thinking that every whiskey they taste is going to be the best whiskey. If people are in that kind of mind frame, they've lost the plot. Take each whiskey just now as they come. Experimental in the main. A lot of people are just looking at cask management systems. Lots of people are just looking at mash bill, you know, and fiddling a little bit. Let's look at that. Enjoy the ride. We don't like it. Don't go back to it. Don't buy it. Go to the next one. Try again. You know what I mean? Let's do it. You know what I mean? So, I think we're at the very start of a journey. I'm excited for Teeling, where it's going. I really am. Do you know what I mean? I'm buzzing for it. What I would say is, do not stop with your older stock. Get rid of it. Keep putting it in bottles. Let us buy it. Is that really bad?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because I want to drink it all. I like those 30 and 33-year-old expressions. And if you don't get to drink it, God love you.
There will be a 32 releasing very soon. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention that, but that's.
You can talk about everything. Well, I like to talk about everything. You know, Stephen and Jack might not, but
yeah, but they might wrap me on the wrist there.
Listen,
but no, I mean, going back to what Cassandra's point, that's absolutely dead right. And I try at the end of any tasting I do, try and ask people, you know, which one did you enjoy the most? Because at the end of the day, you're not supposed to like all of them. That's the way that we approach whiskeys. Is that, you know, challenging the expectations of what whiskey is. And yeah, you might not like the gin finish that we did, you know, 3-4 years ago, or no, 2 years ago, who knows, with lockdown. But that was different. That was an experimentation. We learned what gin casks, or specifically Finnish rye gin casks, did to our whiskey, and maybe we'll be able to use that influence with something else in future. And some people absolutely loved it. Absolutely thought it was, you know, something brilliant, and wanted to see more of it. And they're the type that kind of flocks to, say, akavit cast that we've done, and those kind of flavors. But then you've got, you know, these fans, like the fans of this whiskey that we did, absolutely fervent fans of the plantation pineapple that we did. This, you know, one of the fastest selling ones that we ever released. The collaboration there with pineapple rum with plantation.
Who doesn't want pineapple rum tasting, you know, whiskey? Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, that one, like, we had US, like, normally kind of the US kind of ignore, they're like, another release from Teeling. But when that released, it was like, get my grandfather's mother's cousin to buy a bottle and ship it to this Parcel Motel address, and I'll get Billy's sister's girlfriend to pick it up from there and ship it over to England, and then someone on a boat will go through the Suez Canal and bring it to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So it is dictated like a second and third continued collaboration with the guys at Plantation. So I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Like there are different segments of the whiskey industry, and hopefully we have a Teeling whiskey that suits you.
Yeah. Oh well, let's hope so. Stacey says we'll take all you've got, Robert. So,
it's a challenging ask. There's a few people. Johan in Sweden, Robert Gustafsson knows very well what I'm talking about, and a few others. Sven Teeling, they have some enormous. Sven Teeling, has some enormous collections.
I've done deals with Sven. Sven's a good lad. I've done deals with Sven to make sure he gets what he wants. Sven, you know, we've done good business. You know what I mean. Sven's a good lad, and he's done rightly. He seems to. I think he has everything.
Yeah, they do some serious work to collect. Like there's some whiskeys that go to specific to markets. Like, yeah, this one's going to Lithuania because we have a very close relationship with the partner there, and somehow they get their bottle.
You've got a really odd one out just now. Is it in Belgium and Netherlands?
The Amber Ale.
It was you know, I was like, what's going on there? Well, you know,
Belgium love whiskey, and the Netherlands. We know that. Yeah, they love their whiskey.
So do the Dutch, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Play to them.
Exactly, yeah.
They do indeed. You're going to bring me some Norwegian chocolates. Cheers for me, that's really kind. Cheers, pal. Question here, Rob. If the GI for pot still changes to a broader definition, do you see Teeling taking that chance to mix up the mash bill for the pot still?
I would say so, yeah. I would definitely say so, because Alex, obviously being a brewing background, loves his specialty malts. So that's what we're doing right now, is that experimentation. So for those that don't know the production schedule for Teeling, 33% of our production schedule is based on new product development. So all the projection for the company, all the years in advance we have to think, is based on our distillery's output at half capacity, doing 66% of the production. Obviously, if something goes wrong, the first thing to go is probably the sneaky kind of, let's do a rye here, or let's do a chocolate porter there. But yeah, I mean, we allow ourselves that freedom to work on other things, bits and pieces here, bits and pieces there. Learn, you know, okay, how do we distill crystal malt in Dublin? You know, obviously, one of the most famous whiskies in Irish whiskey history is a crystal malt, and we want to be able to reintroduce that and bring that back. So we need to learn how to do it in Dublin, how to do it on Alison, Natalie, and Rebecca, the three stills in Newmarket. So yeah, I mean, we have the time set out in our production schedule to be able to do that and achieve that. So if they did change and they introduce, a higher percentage of oats, I'm sure Alex would then source, some quality grains and work within that. I remember asking him, like Fionn came to me years ago and said, would you be interested in doing a run of this weird and wonderful mash bill that I found in this history book way back? And I put it to Alex and he's just like, it'd need to be a significant amount to make it worthwhile to run on the stills, because they are, big stills, like 15,000 liters, the wash still. So we unfortunately had to pass on it. But I talked to Alex. I was like, are you not interested in this? He's like, of course I am. But the European Commission has gifted us a GI. We have our own unique Irish style of whiskey. So let's work within that framework and build it up as much as possible. So when they do open it up further, people are interested in buying it.
I think that's a fair cop. That is a fair cop. That is indeed that. We've got some interesting comments here. Shami's saying that she's about 20 bottles. That is enormous.
But you're a whiskey. Charlie's a whiskey warrior. Charlie does tastings for us in Norway. So I mean, yeah.
MP Moho also says that he has it also plenty amount. There you go. I wish I could afford every single root. Oh, Stiggins pineapple and the wonder of wood releases. She's missing. Fuck. Used as the options. Yeah, no, fair play. Fair freaking play to you. Do you know what? You do see that it's actually been quite. It's in the secondary market. Teelings have been walking around the place, changing hands. But and fair play again. We've talked about that kind of older stock that you have. Going forward, I'm probably excited about seeing some of this. Loving the peated single malt, loving the fact that you're going to stick with the 5 different expressions. Of where we are with Irish whiskey. I think it's great. And fair play to you. And I do mean this sincerely. Thank you very much for getting involved in the festival, Rob. Genuinely do, buzzing to have you on board.
It should be good. Looking forward to a tasting. When's my tasting? I'm doing a tasting with you on the 25th of July, isn't it? Oh God, let me just double check my calendar here. I should have written this down. This is poor planning on my part.
Listen, I'll tell you here just now. You're on the 25th of July, which is a Sunday, and you're on at 4 o'clock.
That's me.
Okay.
That's me.
And if people are coming to Belfast specifically for it, it'll be great to see them. So listen, happy days. We can have a crowd at your tasting if that's the case. Proper excited to welcome you up. Rob, are you going to come? You physically going to come up?
I hope so. I mean, I'm going to try get my vaccine ASAP. That would be nice.
Yeah. I think for people, for peace of mind, vaccines are going to be really important for a lot of people. That's for peace of mind. But I think the way this the way this virus is working its way around the world, I generally think that everyone doing a wee bit just to keep themselves right will keep this right itself. Keep it under control. If people just go crazy, then it's not gonna do anyone any good. Do you know what I mean?
It has been a little easy to go stir crazy when we've been locked up inside for so long. I think I was the same today. Like someone's like, "Oh, do you want to do a tasting in this bar there the other day?" And I was like, "Oh, I really want to. I really could just leave the house, walk, and go and do it." It's like, no, I'll do it online. But I do enjoy the online stuff. Like it's kept me working, kept me sane, kept me busy, and not thinking about the negative stuff that's going on. So yeah, thanks be to all the whiskey fans out there that have shown an interest in doing these virtual tastings.
Yeah, that's been good, hasn't it? It's, for me, it just opened a different type of a different type of participant for the festival specifically. Because we have a good crowd of people here in Northern Ireland who drink whiskey. We know that there's a good crowd of people, but to open it up to people from outside of Ireland, it's just been, the internet has been fantastic. We don't want to lose that. I mean, we don't want to lose it because actually there's a lot of interconnectivity between a lot of people, who are making friends as continuously because of these opportunities. So like we're not going to lose that. We are planning on next year having massive amount of physical interaction. That has to happen. Like we have to really prepare for that for next year.
Belfast Whiskey Week, hugs and high fives.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, we could use that. Can we use that?
We'll do it.
This is recording. We'll be going back to that.
Okay, yeah. We'll do a tasting, hugs and high fives, and you can only do it in person.
I really like that. I remember being at university. I mean, I was a bit of a maverick at uni, but I had this campaign, and it was what was it? Save the trees, hug people.
Okay.
Well, do you know how you have all these tree huggers? I was like, listen, lads, we need to nip this in the bud. That's damaging trees. Save the trees. Let's hug people. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here it worked well. It was a slogan for I was the campaign representative for someone that was running for president at the time at the university. So if anyone remembers that, I do. It was, and I tell you what, we fucking weren't saving trees because
I was going to say,
we weren't saving trees because we were actually printing that on lots of paper and posting it all around the freaking campus
on trees.
On the trees. But do you know what I mean? It brought a whole new meaning to get a lumber. I don't know if that's a word that's used in the south, but getting a lumber would be a word that's used in Scotland, which means that you get a kiss off someone, a lumber. But I suppose lumber being used for a plank of wood, and anyway, like I suppose it brought a whole new meaning to the word lumber.
I love that idea. Here, cut down that tree, chop him up, and tack bits of his skin onto the rest of those trees there. We'll show them all.
Rob, you're a good crack. There was a comment earlier on that said we looked alike. I thought, here, listen, they must be blind because Rob looks great. I look rougher than a badger's arse.
I think you can do that.
You're doing grand. And you've got your headset on. But look, Rob, we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Genuinely doing, and thank you very much for coming on tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
A little bit left in my glass. So, Sláinte, thank you very much. Cheers for everyone that came on tonight. I heard it's one each.
Oh,
great news.
Well, I think I catch that.
I might go to pens again. Hope they get ditched in penalties at the class. Right. Right, I didn't say that. Good night, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you.
Catch you later. Bye.